Seen some alarming evidence these past few weeks, and I'm speaking in support of the victims who have recently come forward about some concerning behavior regarding a previous friend of mine, who a lot of you may know as CoryxKenshin.
Ladies and gentlemen, stop me viewers, that person right there is Mavattack, CoryxKenshin's former friend who has decided to continue on with CoryxKenshin's recent allegations. If you don't know what I'm talking about, these are the accusations from nearly 2 months ago now. If you want to know about the situation up until this point, I have 3 videos up on the channel that go over every single detail of the situation and explain it to you. Recently, this YouTuber Mavattack has released 3 videos on CoryxKenshin, but before we get into those, if you haven't already, please consider leave a like, subscribing, and hit the notification bell. It really helps out the channel, especially if you do enjoy the content. But without further ado, let's get into the topic at hand.
Or Mav. I've seen some alarming evidence these past few weeks, and I'm speaking in support of the victims who have recently come forward about some concerning behavior regarding a previous friend of mine, who a lot of you may know as CoryxKenshin. Cory and I met in 2014, and soon after became best friends for years, until I cut ties with him in 2023. In March of 2023, I released a video on my channel explaining a few of the reasons why he and I were no longer associating or going to be doing collaborations anymore.
Now, something that I think is incredibly important to mention is this is Mavattack's first video in almost 2 years, and it's a video on CoryxKenshin, one of his former friends. Lots of people have pointed out that this video just screams of saltiness, jealousy, and that this person is obviously biased. I mean, that's only echoed because for 2 minutes, this guy is just waffling on about his own personal experience with CoryxKenshin, and more importantly, his fans and the backlash he's had from his fans.
Away from YouTube without updating his obsessed audience, I'd then reach out to ask him if he could post on social media saying he's okay, and to leave his friends and family alone, which would always conclude with him saying that's just how he is. He was going to do what he wanted regardless of how much it would hurt the people he claimed to love and care for. A couple common misunderstandings taken from this video were that I never communicated with Cory about his breaks and the harassment I was facing.
Sorry, who honestly gives a flying fuck? And this is coming from somebody who isn't a CoryxKenshin fan, has probably watched about 5 CoryxKenshin videos ever, who genuinely gives a flying shit. Ultimately, CoryxKenshin has no obligation to update his fans on his whereabouts. It's incredibly unfortunate that people received harassment from CoryxKenshin fans over this, but ultimately CoryxKenshin has no obligation to do that. Yeah, it's unfortunate, blah 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 blah, give a bit of sympathy, move on. I personally want to hear about the accusations from a couple of months ago, so let's jump to that bit.
Recently, Panda Ninja, who was an ex-girlfriend of Cory's, spoke out about her time being with him on and off through the years from 2016 onward, providing videos, screenshots of text message conversations, and her perspective of their time together. I met Panda in August of 2017, where myself, Panda, and Cory all spent time in person. Not only did I meet Panda, but I got to see her and Cory's chemistry around each other. Based on my own personal conversations with Cory and my time around both him and Panda, I believe her account and confirm that the messages align with what I witnessed.
Which ultimately is because towards the end of that situation about a month ago, Panda Ninja basically walked back a bunch of stuff and said they had a brand new perspective. As this accuser has actually taken down all her videos except from the clarification video that we just broke down. She has taken it all down, and this is because she changed her mind and was kind of awoken by a video some TikToker uploaded 2 of these videos from this TikToker. He then took to a story to say, so I watched his video and I got a different point of view, then linked to the account. This was further reiterated by a comment with somebody that she spoke to directly, and it very much seemed like she had changed her perspective. But now when you go on her TikTok account, all the videos are now back up officially, and she's had some like weird mental breakdown. With all due respect, why would anyone believe her at this point or trust what she's actually saying? Because she switched up several times and gone back on what she said, and the whole entire situation is an absolute mess.
Shortly after Panda's story circulated, another woman reached out to Panda with more proof of Cory's terrible behavior with women, disregarding personal boundaries, and even going so far as to have close friends keep tabs on what these women were saying and doing on their social media accounts. In 2015, I received a YouTube DM from a woman who was close friends with Cory at the time, asking for clarification about their friendship, wondering if there was more of a romantic interest by the way he would speak to her. I couldn't provide any clarity though, and I didn't think much of it at the time. A few years ago, she replied to a YouTube comment on her channel, updating someone about her and Cory's friendship, and stated that they weren't friends anymore due to him believing what a fan said about me, and yelled at me for being a terrible person.
When it comes to something like this, you've got to be realistic and take it at face value, which would be, this is a YouTube comment. There is no proof. This is just somebody's quote-unquote experience with CoryxKenshin. There is really nothing that you can do with this. Nobody should just be blindly believing this or jumping to conclusions based off of a YouTube comment.
Another person who I believe is a victim in all of this, who, out of respect for her privacy, I won't mention by name, is a woman I met early on in Cory and I's friendship, who happened to be a long-time on and off high school girlfriend of Cory's. In between all of his questionable relationships with women, it seemed to me there was always someone he could fall back on. I recall one situation where Cory had a random woman come out to his house. When his girlfriend came over unannounced and awkwardly found Cory and the woman in his bedroom. This is just a subtle glimpse into how Cory treats his relationship with women.
Again, ultimately there is no proof of any of this. This is just this guy talking and saying what he thinks, his perspective, his view, and what he wants to say. And ultimately people aren't believing this guy because of his history with CoryxKenshin and the absolute behemoth of a monologue towards the beginning of this video that gives off that this guy is salty, jealous, he's got ulterior motives, and he's biased towards Cory.
And scrutiny you'll face when dealing with a massive slice of the internet, especially when speaking your truth about a large figure in that space, and how easy it is to spiral, causing one to potentially change information on their account, hide content, or even deactivate altogether. You can't know how to handle or manage when you're going through that constant pressure, especially if you've never experienced anything like that.
I'm sorry, but surely if you are making a public accusation against one of the world's biggest content creators, you'd expect some type of reaction. Some type of reaction from the audience, some may be negative, some may be positive. Surely you would expect that. And I don't expect people never to mess up in a situation like this. It's always going to happen, it's always going to occur. That is only natural. But with all the mistakes that were made in this situation and with what transpired, I think we're talking about a different kettle of fish here.
Also known as Panda Ninja, the one you mocked, misquoted, and tried to bury under your projections. Guess what? I'm still here. Surprised to see us in the same video? Yeah, we figured. Instead of letting strangers rewrite the story, we're saying it ourselves. Direct and unfiltered. Awkward, isn't it?
Oh wow, you really got an own there. It's awkward, isn't it? I just don't take someone seriously when this is their approach. Can we focus at the stuff at hand, not trying to belittle the audience and trying to, get an own on them?
And no, I didn't post every detail. That doesn't mean it didn't happen. It means I was protecting myself from him and from the internet circus that never shuts the fuck up. Also, y'all ran with some essay shit I never even said. Not once, not hinted at all. But because reading is hard and critical thinking is extinct, you turn your own fake headline into a whole narrative.
This is something I spoke about extensively on this channel. I even made a whole video going over the lies and misinformation on both sides, to the people that were supporting Panda Ninja and the CoryxKenshin fans that were going against Panda Ninja. Panda Ninja then goes on to speak about the lies and misinformation that was being spread and the narratives that people were buying into. The fact that people were getting things wrong, like saying that the messages weren't from Discord, when ultimately it's because they weren't from Discord, they were from Xbox, but people weren't taking a look at the actual evidence or information.
Worst part, he chose to sit back and let it happen. This is the man who calls himself a Christian. He allowed harassment to happen in his name. He stayed silent while others did the fighting for him, and he built a brand on values he never lived by. Christian on Sunday, manipulator every other day. Tell me, what's Christian about that?
Sorry, but Panda Ninja's absolute arrogance and ignorance here is just completely misplaced. You put stuff out there, you got backlash, and people lied and spread false narratives. That's for you to clear up, not CoryxKenshin. Whilst there was a lot of misinformation and false narratives that were being spread that weren't caused by Panda Ninja, there are a lot that were, and that's for her to clear up, not hoping that Cory will come out and do it for her, when realistically, if he's going to come out and say anything, it's going to be directly responding to her accusations about him, not trying to wrangle his fans. Now, I understand to a certain degree why Panda Ninja would want to speak on this in this video, clear up some misconceptions, but she sits here for ages talking about basically every single little thing that people said about her and then going against it.
And harassed while trying to process trauma in real time, just to be told you're doing it wrong? People expected me to know how to explain something I was still trying to process while being watched, doxxed, cyberbullied, interrogated, and judged the entire fucking time. I didn't owe y'all shit, because who the fuck are you? Were you in the bed with me and him?
And ultimately, people can only go off of what you've said, and if you mess up what you're trying to say, then again, what do you expect? Ultimately, as well, the things she's saying in this video have not helped her. It's made her look more deranged and look worse from a public perspective. For example, she starts talking about misogyny, and then she goes on to deny the sex working accusations, and then goes on a rant about that. Why?
While we're here, let's kill another rumor. No, I don't have an and I'm not a worker. Never have, not now, not then. There are fake accounts out there pretending to be me, using my pictures, spinning lies, and y'all ran with it like idiots. Again, no, I'm not a worker or an OF model, but the way you weirdos obsessed, maybe I should open one just so you can finally put your money where your mouth is. At least then your broke asses would actually be paying me instead of lying about me for free. I promise, in my perspective, Cory will be my first subscriber though. Right next to all my haters and enemies, you'll be lined up paying me just to lurk.
Like why? Why are we doing this? Why are we acting like this? What's the point? And ultimately, you want people to take your story seriously and understand where you're coming from and your point of view. People aren't going to do that when you're saying that your haters and CoryxKenshin will be lining up to try out your OF.
I've got nothing but respect for actual workers. They hustle, they grind, and they deal with the same harassment, shaming, and stigma I see y'all try to throw at me. The difference is they don't deserve it either. Women and men in that line of work put up with enough bullshit already.
I'll move on from this now, but I just wanted to play this because I just didn't believe it when I was watching this video. When I saw this, I was just left speechless. What she speaks about towards the end of this as well is about her birthday wish. She wanted to meet Dashi, and Cory apparently didn't like that, and then would try and use Dashi's name against her, and would get kind of annoyed anytime he was mentioned or brought up.
Even when he was literally hanging out with Dashi, he'd bring him up in our conversations just to see how I'd react. I'd play it off jokingly or change the subject because what else could I do? But really, it was another way for him to test me, to try to get a rise out of me. So later, he could flip it around and find a way to blame me. The Dashi stuff was just one example of a bigger pattern. Cory constantly threw subliminals or little digs, not just about Dashi, but about other things too, because he wanted control over the narrative and how I responded.
Again, it should be noted that all of this stuff is testimony.
The lie he spread. Cory told Mav that I cheated on him and went back to an ex. He made me look horrible in front of him, but here's the truth. Mav has seen every receipt. He knows the facts now. I never cheated on Cory, not once, not at all. And here's the real timeline. We were together from December 2016 until February 5th, 2017. After that, we were both broken up for 6 months. 6 months. During that time, I was single and I dated 2 people briefly, one for 1 month, one for 2 months. That was my right because we weren't together. Then in mid-August 2017, Cory and I got back together. That's when I met Mav for the first time. What makes it worse, I had a gut feeling for years that he did, but I couldn't confirm it. So I told people he didn't cheat on me until I saw the proof. And that shit pissed me off because now after all these years, I realized he could have given me an STD. He never told me he had multiple partners. He told me straight up that he wasn't seeing anyone else, that he loved me. It was a facade. Bullshit. And let me clear this up once and for all, since some of y'all love inventing pregnancies out of thin air. I was never pregnant by him, not by any man from that time, not now. I've only had one pregnancy in my life, and she is 17 years old. That's it.
Here, she's talking about receipts and proof, but we never see any of those receipts or said proof. If you are going to make a public accusation like this, and you are mentioning receipts and proof, and then you don't show them, people aren't exactly going to believe what you are saying.
Practically gift wrapped this subliminal for me. Y'all think you're protecting him, but you really just exposed him. Behind closed doors though, he was still reaching out. He told Mav with a facepalm that I contacted him, and he said to him, I wish she'd leave me alone, but I want her one last time. That's some narcissistic shit. Plain and simple. In public, I'm the crazy ex.
So that was the first video on CoryxKenshin from Mavattack. Now, he uploaded a second video where he's responding to hate comments because this video has been heavily panned online.
Deep into the comments section of the last video because something that was a very serious topic, a very serious statement and discussion was not only not taken seriously, but I feel like most of you didn't even get past a couple minutes into the video.
I do really like in his first video, he tries to convince everyone that he's not a clout chaser, only to then milk it by just reading the comments.
But you move your goalposts as far back as you need to find your point, to get your point. Now, the thing is I feel like there's a lot of little kids in here. Many little kids, younger kids. This is generations, right? This is Gen Z, older Gen Z, medium, younger Gen Z. And then the generation below coming up on social media, brainwashed by their devices, constantly having their dopamine receptors fried because their parents are miserable, irresponsible pieces of shit who have decided to not swallow the cum and actually have the child. And now you have contributed to the rot of this world by raising these stupid little fucks that come on the internet and leave all these hateful comments and think they're safe behind usernames like there's no consequences to their actions. Trust me, buddy, this isn't real life shit that you guys want to get involved in. Trust. So sit your little asses down, maybe have a snack and a nap, get ready for fucking school because it's happening soon, and lock the fuck.
What a lot of the video is, it just comes off as completely unhinged. I honestly don't know why he decided to read these comments outside of trying to get a quick bag. And Mavattack's third video was the best moments of like him and CoryxKenshin throughout the years.
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to another episode of Mavattack. So Cory and I have a huge project together that I'm actually working on right now. Here, I'll show you.
Speak up and be truthful and honest. It's been difficult for you to do
Oh,
that.
and also the reason I put 100 videos on my YouTube community tab wasn't to mock Cory for not uploading, but because he wanted to pass the torch to me so I could shoot for 100 videos myself. But in the meantime, while I work on that, he wanted me to take over. So while I'm editing to get this video done, here is a compilation of our best moments together, even featuring clips the internet has never seen before.
Again, this is just another clear attempt at trying to get some more money. This is just clearly a cash grab. I really like as well, lots of people pointed out in the comments that of course these two have not had a conversation and that clip is from a previous video. Also uploaded some bizarre YouTube short as well, and it genuinely feels like we're watching like a man's descent into absolute madness. I honestly don't know what he's doing. I don't know what this is meant to be about anymore. It's just completely deranged and unhinged. Before we wrap up this video, I just wanted to read something out that Panda Ninja recently put up on her TikTok account. If you've never had to defend yourself before, when lies get thrown at you, silence isn't an option. That's why I keep going, and nothing the samurai can say will change that. God don't like ugly, and people like them will have to face him first. So there we have it. At this rate, I can't see this exactly being the end of this situation. I can see this going on for quite some time if this is what Mavattack and Panda Ninja do genuinely want. But everybody watching, what was your thoughts on all of this? Please feel free to comment down below. Watch the you might also subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any future Slot Meal content. But I've been your host Samuel, and I will catch you in the next Slot Meal video. Goodbye.